Welcome back, leaders. For a while now, we've been your weekly check-in on what's in the news for leaders. We took a little bit of a break and we're back now. We were breaking down the headlines that shape how you lead. And today I am so excited to share that we are turning a new page. The news, of course, doesn't slow down, and neither do the demands on the people leading through it. But the more we listen to you and the more that we talk to our participants and our clients, there was one thing that really became very clear. Leaders aren't just hungry for what's happening, they're hungry for how to talk about it, how to have the conversations that move teams forward, repair whatever damage has been done within their organizations, navigate hard truths, and turn intention into action. So I am so excited today to introduce to you all our new podcast. The name has changed, Conversations That Work, a podcast about the dialogues that define leadership. Same host, myself. I'm your host, Andora Hinton, CEO of Illinois Growth Partners, but we're putting a sharper focus on the way that you as a leader communicate with your teams. We will have every episode where we'll sit down with thought leaders, practitioners, senior level leaders, PhDs, and researchers who help us all get better at the most underrated leadership skill there is, a conversation that actually works. Now, I am super excited about our very first guest for our new podcast, and there's no one I'd rather start this journey with today than our guest, Dr. Lashaundon Perkins. Dr. Perkins is the founder of Reestablishing You LLC, and she brings more than 25 years of expertise across educational leadership, organizational development, and organizational leadership. She has spent a career helping leaders, teams, and institutions get unstuck. And a lot of that work comes back to one thing, the quality of the conversations in the room. Dr. Perkins, welcome to the Conversations That Work. Thank you so much. I know that you and I met some time ago, and our last interaction, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much that you have to share because there was so much synergy for sure. Would you mind sharing just a little bit about yourself?
Well, you did a great job with sharing some things, but yes, I have over 25 years in the areas that you mentioned beforehand. And what I love about what I do get to do is partake in helping to build great conversations, be a part of working with leadership in their organization, doing whether it's motivational speaking or coming to do team building exercises, working out conflict resolution, and working with these entities to ensure that one of the things is making sure that the mission is aligning to the workplace, as well as digging down to some of those elephant in the room conversations.
Yeah.
And helping to build the teamwork amongst the individuals from the top down and so much more. So I am glad to have been afforded the opportunities to be a part of the organizations that I'm invited to do professional development, because that's what I love.
I know that just from our last interaction together of just the passion that you have for helping people, which is why I'm so glad that you're here to talk to us about Conversations That Work today. So as we move into this, this is something that is very exciting for us because our whole philosophy is really to help leaders to work better together and help with their teams and communicating more effectively with their teams. How do they communicate better up to their managers and cross-functionally into their direct reports? There's a lot going on in the world right now. So when you look at everything that's happening, the pace of how busy people are, hybrid teams, change management around the introduction of AI, because a lot of companies are introducing AI, different generations trying to understand how to work better together. In your opinion, why are Conversations That Work more urgent today than maybe they've ever been? Or maybe not in your opinion, but more so your research, your experience. Why are Conversations That Work more urgent today than maybe they've ever been?
You highlighted some very important things, especially in the climate that we're in. The biggest thing is now, especially that we are into our first century, and everything, a lot of stuff is digital. lot
Yeah.
hybrid, and the face to face is scheduled, is seldom, and oftentimes it is warranted more because of the conversations that can be barriers in the digital world. There are digital communication barriers in every organization. A lot of times that is because, when you text an individual or when you're emailing, you may come across in certainly a different tone than what the receptor is receiving.
Yeah.
And so those face-to-face conversations or those conversations in general are very important, as well as you have the psychological means. And what I mean by that is, even when it comes to research, when it comes to inviting your staff
Mm-hmm.
for input, they have to feel welcome. They have to
Yeah.
feel like they're part of the conversation. They have to feel like, okay, if I do open up and if I communicate this certain thing that is considered to be negative, how would I be blamed?
Yeah.
Will my conversation be warranted or will it be respected? Communication during this particular time of season. I wouldn't even say season in this time is very, very important. You have sometimes people that may avoid having those real difficult conversations, especially when we're in the type of world that we are in now. You mentioned AI as well.
Yeah. Well, you make some really great points here, and you're right. There are a lot of people who avoid. One of the things that I just did a speaking engagement on Friday, and it was titled "The Power of Your Voice." And one of the things that's really important about that is that we all have voices.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you brought in psychological safety because a lot of times people don't feel safe. And it doesn't always have to be because of something that the organization has done. It could be something that's happening internally as to why I don't feel safe. And so we always talk about what's the language how can we change our language so that we could help to increase more trust and increase safety rather than erode trust. And leaders may not even know that they're doing that. So that language piece is so important. When you hear, so we have our definition of what it means for a conversation that works. But when you hear conversation that works, Dr. Perkins, what does that mean to you? And what separates a conversation that works from one that just happens or one that does damage?
So, for me, when I'm thinking about a conversation at work, it is the active listening.
Mm,
That is very big because oftentimes in conversation, if you don't have an individual that is doing active listening, they're just ready, like research would explain. They're not active listening, they're just ready to respond. They're listening to respond, not to reflect, not to get clarity, and they're interrupting. And so for me, that is one of the biggest things is having active listening. Also, with the communication part, am I being concise with what I'm asking or the statement or the request? Or is the person being that way? Sometimes our messaging is not concise, it's not direct, it's not clear, and it causes it to be all over the place so that that person or myself, I'm not able to reflect, I'm not able to understand, and it can cause conflict. It can cause
yeah.
individuals to shut down. Another thing is emotional awareness.
Yeah.
You mentioned a thing before you asked me this second question, and that is we don't know what people are going through
Yeah.
internally. So part of that emotional tone or that emotional awareness is, what is the tone like of the person that I'm communicating with? How is my tone? Because
Yeah.
sometimes when we talk about communication that works, we can always talk about or mention what the other person is doing or how the other person is speaking or how the other person is not doing, but we have to be mindful of how we speaking. What is our tone? Because you have a person that's going to receive what you say, and then it's a two-way street when it comes to
Yeah.
communication. So we have to be emotionally not only wanting the individual that we're communicating to be emotionally aware, we also have to be mindful of the tone that we're speaking in.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes we don't think about that. We want to get what get out what we want to say, and and
Yes.
then creating a safe space. We hear that buzzword a lot, but if I am coming to my supervisor, and we're still talking about communication at work. If I'm coming to my supervisor needing to have a difficult conversation, I want to feel like that is a safe space.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't want to hear my conversation that I've had with my supervisor spoken of or bits and pieces to one of my coworkers, because that can cause conflict. So those things are very important, and as well as adapting to, because we talk about, well, we haven't talked about that, but we talk about that a lot when communicating, but knowing communication style. My
Yes.
communication style is not going to be like someone else's, and I can't expect for someone else's communication style to be like mine. But in order for it to work, I have to be respectful of someone else's communication style.